Hi, my internet friend. This is Soph. How do you make new friends after you've grown up to be an introverted adult? For a time after I graduated college, moving to a new city for a new job, I was so lonely. I didn't know anybody in the city, so I went to grocery stores a couple times a week so I could talk to the cashiers when I was there. It's difficult for me to start conversations with people and make new friends that way. But then I found out about Bumble BFF and I started forming closer relationships and have good friends. Here are some of my good experiences and bad experiences. All right, let's start with some of the very good experiences that I've had. I've been on, I want to say, anywhere between 10 to 20 Bumble BFF dates, and 2 turned out to be really well. One happened before I moved when I lived in Pennsylvania, and for the purpose of this video, we will call this friend with whom I met up Carli. Carli and I were matched. After we matched, either she was out of town or I was out of town. So we didn't meet immediately, which I don't typically do. If I don't meet up with someone right away, I kind of lose the traction, if you will. I think after like a month or so after we had matched, she invited me to a lab party. At the time, I was like, I have no idea what a lab party is, but I need a friend and I could use company, even if I don't know the company at all. I showed up to her house before we went to the party. She's very extroverted and I'm not that, so I was a little bit nervous when I showed up for like our first BFF date. I don't know if she was nervous, but we showed up to this lab party, which turned out just to be a friend of hers party, and the main attendants of that party were all lab mates at school, which is why it was called a lab party. I was at the party. I chatted with her a little bit. I don't remember clicking right away, but I left with a really good impression of her because 1, we had things to talk about. 2, she was already introducing me to other people, and I really enjoyed meeting up with her as well as some of her friends with whom she hangs out weekly. So that was the first date. And from there on, it just kind of snowballed in a sense that we started hanging out every weekend, if not every other weekend. She is the type of person that has a lot of friends and she loves bringing her friends together. So through her, I met a group of friends with whom I became so close, and these were my main gang. I want to say in that group there were at least about 10 people, anywhere between 6 to 10. I still talk to those people even though I've moved away, and because of her, every weekend I had the option to go out with this group of friends that initially were hers, but then also eventually became mine. We would go out to dinner and go out to bars. This group of people was a lot of them were grad students and they were very into drinking. So we went to bars a lot. We went to baseball games and tailgated. Being friends with these people made such a big difference to the quality of my life, because although I had friends prior to meeting these people, they were not actual friends. Most of these people I play volleyball with, that's how I met them. I met them through different leagues of volleyball in Pittsburgh. I would hang out with them and I would go to bars with them, but then nothing moves beyond that. It just feels like we were friends solely for the purpose of partying. And then I met my new group of friends through Carli, and that completely changed. Now I have really close friends, and with individuals in that group, it goes beyond just drinking and going out all the time. With a subgroup of these people, I would go to a coffee shop Every Sunday we go to a new and different coffee shop in the city and just sit and chat for a couple of hours. And with other subgroups of this massive group of people, I would like talk to about my problems or what's happening in my life. So it's a really intimate relationship in comparison to what I had before. Obviously, Carli played a critical role in introducing me to the group. Had it not been for Carli, I would have not met this group of people. And till this day, I'm still very close to Carli and that group of people, even though I've moved away. So that was a great experience. The second very good experience that I had with Bumble BFF is with a girl. For the purpose of this video, we're gonna call her Allie. I met Allie here in the Bay Area a couple months after I moved. When we matched on Bumble, it didn't seem like we had that much in common. One of the things that we had in common was that we were both into coffee, I think. So we met up at a coffee shop and started chit-chatting. In the beginning, like the first 10 minutes, it was just like a normal conversation. After that 10 minutes, things are starting to click. And remember, the coffee shop was closing down. We like took our coffee and walked to like kind of like a shopping center with like a parking lot and chairs and benches outside the shopping center. So we just kind of sat there and chatted. And after that 10 minutes of like kind of getting to know each other stage, the conversation after that was so much more interesting. And I think there are a couple of reasons why we clicked. First is that we have a lot of things in common, even though I couldn't tell through the Bumble profile. But in person, we started to discover like, oh, we both like journaling and we are both trying to improve our calligraphy with a fountain pen. It's such a specific thing and it's such a little thing that when we realized we both do that, we just like instantly clicked. And that's not the only thing that we discovered on our first date that are really similar between the two of us. There are like 5 other things. So after that date, I felt so good about how the friend date went, and I remember being so happy because I knew like at least I would like to meet up with Allie again. And fast forward to today, Allie and I probably text each other at least a couple times a week, and like we try to go out and get food or eat at her place for a dinner little party, or eat at my place for a dinner party. It's such a calm and like healthy relationship, and I really enjoy every second of it. Now let's talk about some of the bad experiences that I've had on Bumble BFF. Now when I say like bad, it's all comparison to the really good ones that I've had with Carli and Allie. Objectively, they're not bad. It just didn't pan out. The first bad experience that I had was with this girl whose name, for the purpose of this video, we're gonna call her Gigi. I honestly don't remember her name anymore, but we had a pleasant conversation on Bumble. Don't remember the content of it, but I invited her to a barbecue, a summer barbecue at my house, and I had, besides her, 3 other guests. One of the guests was my best friend, and another guest is my friend from school, and another guest is the friend of a friend from school. So we aren't from like the same sort of circle, so like everybody is not super familiar with each other. So I thought, you know, this would be a good opportunity for us to all get to know each other, or just hang out, or like talk about things, right? There is a lot to talk about because we don't know each other at all. Now thinking about it, maybe that was a bad idea on my part because we are meeting for the first time and she didn't even know if she liked me. And here I am like throwing her into an environment with 3 other people that I know, that she doesn't know at all, plus me. Anyhow, what happened was through that entire barbecue, I tried to kind of loop her into the bigger conversation. She would just answer in like a 1 sentence answer. So as an example, I was like, oh, do you like this skewered chicken skewer? And she would say, yes, it's pretty good. And then that's it. I feel like if somebody was asking me that, I would have said, yeah, it's really good. Did you make it? Or did you get it from a grocery store? Or like something like that, right? So she was very sparse with her words. Throughout the entire dinner time, if I didn't loop her into the conversation, she was just quiet. The rest of my guests, I think, had a great time. They also noticed that this girl, Gigi, was very quiet. After that one time, I think I like maybe messaged her on Bumble, but I never heard back from her ever again. Honestly, even if she did respond, like maybe I would give it another shot, just go on another date with her. But the first experience was so unstimulating that I didn't have the incentive to kind of engage in the conversation and invite her out again. So that was the first kind of bad experience. The second bad experience that I had was with a girl who we're gonna call Cathy. Cathy and I matched on Bumble. We had a lot to talk about on Bumble because she had recently moved to Pittsburgh from Florida, and I went to high school in Florida. So our origin story just kind of lined up, and we had a lot to talk about, especially the Miami region and like Cuban coffee. And she was talking about how she loves Cuban coffee. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I love Cuban coffee too. The conversation on Bumble was so good. I don't remember exactly what we did on our first Bumble BFF date, but it was good enough for us to have a second Bumble BFF date and a third and a couple more. So it was really good in the beginning. It just kind of started going downhill. It went downhill for me because first of all, she was a lot younger than me. When I met her, I think I was already 24 years old, and she was maybe 20 at the time. So for one of our events, if you will, we went to a underage night at a local bar, and that I thought it would be fun prior to going. I went there and it was not fun at all. Would not recommend to anybody. So that wasn't like a good experience, but it wasn't on her, right? Like she couldn't have changed anything except grow older, but then like you can't change time. Anyhow, she also, for subsequent days, she also introduced me to her other friends, and I started to realize the kind of people that she surrounds herself with is very different to the people that I would surround myself with. And this is like, again, not her fault. We're just different. And as soon as I started to realize that like what we want in our friends are different, I just kind of like stopped talking to her. We stopped hanging out, and I think she felt the same way because she also stopped reaching out to me. So those were my two bad Bumble BFF experiences. So like, as you can see, it's not like nobody tried to murder me, right? And like nobody tried to throw a fit on the street. So it wasn't like bad in that sense. It was just bad that, you know, I invested time and energy and it just didn't work out. It happens though, right? With people and relationships, it always happens regardless whether it's for a romantic relationship or a friendship. Through the experience of going on Bumble BFF dates, I kind of figured out a system that works for me. And that's kind of the takeaway, right? The first thing I do in this system is when I match on Bumble, I have a very particular set of filters. And some of my filters included like age, like this person can't be too much younger than me because we've been there, done that, it didn't work. The second filter was this person need to have at least an undergraduate degree. And I put on that filter not because, you know, I don't want to hang out with people if you don't have an undergraduate degree. I just feel like there is more for me to connect with somebody on if we are kind of on the same level and have the same undergrad experiences. I have a lot of stories, embarrassing stories from when I was in undergrad, and I think somebody could really connect with that. Those two filters, I think, are my main ones. I can't recall any other filters that I've used, but the having similar experiences by like filtering people with undergraduate degree, I think was very important. And the second thing that I kind of figured out in my system was if I match with someone and if the conversation, the first like day or two, it goes well on Bumble, then I would just invite them out and get coffee. Because if I don't invite somebody out within a week of matching with them, I just lose the motivation of meeting them ever. And I kind of stop responding on Bumble, and it's just a waste of time for both this person and myself, right? So I will meet in person, and then I would know if it's gonna continue on or if it's not. On the other hand, if I don't meet right away, say within a week, we could have this conversation on Bumble for a long time. It could drag on for 2 weeks, and I would reply maybe once a week or maybe once every 3 days, and it's just not very effective. So that's the second thing that I do in my system. Obviously, this is different for everybody. I think maybe not everybody feels that they need to meet with people right away. I've heard, at least with dating, a friend of a friend chatted with her current girlfriend, whom she met on Bumble. They chatted for a year before they started meeting in person and dating. So obviously it works for some people. It doesn't work for me. Just figure out what your system is and just stick with it. You know, not everything is going to work out, because like I said, I've been on anywhere between 10 to 20 Bumble dates, and only 2 were really good ones. Stick with the system. And like one thing that I like to note is that even when you have a system, it's not going to work out all the time. It's not even going to work out half the time. I went on anywhere between 10 to 20. I don't remember exactly how many. We'll say 15. Let's suppose we went on 15 Bumble BFF days, and only 2 really good ones worked out. And that is a rate of, let's do a quick calculation. That is a rate of 13%. Like almost 1 in 10 people that I went on a Bumble date with worked out. So, you know, it's not about you if it doesn't work out. It's just like, it always doesn't work until it works. All right, that is it for how I made friends as an introverted adult. I will see you back here again soon. Bye.